My baby looking too good, yeah, she perfect. No, she worth it. When she pull up, all them man, them flirting. And yeah, she know that she a dime. Call up on my line. Told her, baby, bring it one time. Yeah. Girl, sit down and relax.
Yo, what's really good, though? It's your girl, Yezzir. You are locked into another banging episode of Hey Sis UK. Okay, best believe the family's over at Hey Sis _UK, the real deal. When we're talking about your online family that you get to see in a real life, you've come to the right place. How have we been doing, my sisters and my brothers? Because you know I always see you. And you know what's so funny? I see my brothers outside, they'll be like, sis, with the nudge. So if you are a brother that is actively listening or watching this episode, I want to say I see you and I appreciate you. Obviously, we got a lot going on. And shout out to my real life accountability partners. You know, it's so funny. I was talking to someone about this, how it's so important to have an accountability partner. But before I go into it, let me do the professional stuff. Make sure you're following us over on Instagram. The handle is Hey Sis _UK. Make sure you're locked into the website, which is www.heysisuk.co.uk, to make sure you're up to speed with everything we're doing. We're talking newsletters, we're talking exclusive events, we're talking exclusive merch. And if you want to send in your dilemma, and forgive me, and forgive everyone that's a part of Hey Sis, if you have DM'd it, it's not the best way to be seen. The best way is either email or you go over to the website, you submit your dilemma, we make sure that you are kept anonymous, and we make sure as a family, we're getting your issues sorted, because that's the goal of the show. We're here to have the uncomfortable conversations so we can get to a better place. So how you been, sis? Make sure that you are sipping out the only thing that makes sense for you to be sipping out of, and that is a Hey Sis mug, of course. Come on, let's really talk about it. I'm going to take a sip. I'm charged up, you know, and I'll tell you the reason why I'm charged up. Let me get the superpower. Shout out to my people that watched Dragon Ball Z growing up. I was kind of, it was kind of forced on me, but you know when you're taking turns on watching TV shows as a kid, yeah? And I had to wait my turn after my brother. And he was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. So when it comes to Dragon Ball Z, and I'm feeling charged up, I'm just thinking, whoa, Super Saiyan mode. And I'm in Super Saiyan mode. And I'll tell you why. I hate to see, and yes, I'm going to use the word hate because that's how strongly I feel about this topic of conversation. So let's really get into it. I hate to see my sisters in a state of confusion, because I feel like as much as the elders, as in our mothers, our aunties, our grandmothers, have tried to pass down, you know, wisdom to help us navigate through the spaces of dating, as much as we have the internet, you have whole Facebook pages dedicated to knowing the right man for yourself and literally smoking out a rat from easy. Yeah? We still find ourselves in a state of confusion, and I hate to see that. So, best believe we're going to be deep diving into how to know the type of man you're dating. Is not to be on a sense of, oh, this guy's a bum and this guy's a nice guy. No. We're going to go through some deeper layers in regards to the type of man you're dating and what to expect. Because what we do as women a lot is that we will look at a man's potential and forget that we have to date his reality. And if we can get ourselves in the mind frame of being okay with saying, I see your reality and I'm content with your reality, and if this is your reality for the foreseeable future, fine. But we need to break the bondage of potential. We have to break the bondage of being a helpmate. And when I say a helpmate, I don't mean helping a motivated man. There's nothing wrong with helping a man with a vision and is actively working towards said vision. But what I mean is that being a helpmate and being a mammy, there's a very thin line. And what happens is a lot of women find themselves being mums on a girlfriend title. You might think you're a girlfriend, you're really his mum. Because if you find yourself having to motivate him to want to do better with his life, ooh, you're dipping into motherhood. If you find yourself trying to do things that you don't have to do, even on not just an emotional standpoint, but a financial standpoint, you're thinking, rah, I'm going to help him financially because I see his potential. Whoa. You are delving into motherhood when you're supposed to be a girlfriend. Like, even as a wife, you need to remember there is a line between being his mother in being his wife. You are there as a wife to assist him with what he's got going on, meaning you need a man with a vision and is actively working towards it, not a dreamer. And this is what we're going to get into. So sis, get your drink. Let's chop it up. I want to break down the difference between dating a man who is all talk and no action, and a man who is a hustler, and a man that's a hard worker. And the thing is this, you might have a good man by your side, and that depends on where your standards are. Some people will be happy with just a man not cheating on them. Some would say that's low, that you're setting the bar too low. But let's just say, for example, some women are very happy with just having a good man by their side. A man that doesn't hit them, that doesn't swear at them, that doesn't cheat on them, and he can hold down the job. If that is where your bar is set, great. If you like it, I love it. However, a lot of women find themselves tussling with the thought of, okay, is this the right man for me? Is he going to be a good husband one day? Is he an overall provider? And can he be a father to our children? If you want to know a man's relationship with work and what he deems as a good work ethic, or the type of work ethic that he believes is good to be somewhere he wants to be one day, look at his dad. If you can look at a man's dad and say, you know what, if this is where he's learning how to be a man, if this is where he's learned his relationship with hard work from this man that he calls his dad, and you're happy with that, cool, relax, sis, you don't need to worry. However, if you're looking at the man that he calls his dad that's present in his life, and you see the dad's work ethic and his relationship with work, and you're like, I'm not really too confident about it, then sis, let me tell you something. That is where the bar is set. Don't expect something magical to happen, because you have to remember, the man you're dating, his first impression of what a man is supposed to be in regards to a provider, a husband, an overall good man, yeah, as in a father, is going to be from his dad. If it's not his dad, if he hasn't got an active dad in his life, it's going to be whoever's a father figure in his life growing up. That could be an uncle, that could be his grandfather. Look at them to know where the bar is set for your man. Because a lot of people say, oh, you know, he's young now, but as he gets older, he's going to have a better work ethic. He's going to be a hard worker. He really can be a provider. When it comes to identifying if a man can be a provider, you don't have to wait to the age of when he hits, 25 or 30. You can tell if a man is a hard worker at 16. I'll be so real with you. You can tell who's a hard worker and who's not a hard worker from what a man has planned for himself, even as a teenager. So when you're dating a guy and you're on the phone, you need to be able to be an active listener. A lot of us think that, oh, if I have a man that listens to me, he's such a good man. What you need to do is take some time out to listen to him. Because if you took more time out to listen to him and to see where his mind is at, you could have saved yourself wasting 1 or 2 years in your life. And the reason why I say that, as women, we need to stop thinking, oh, if a man is at service to me, he's a good man. No. It doesn't stop there. You need a man who is an active visionary. And I'm not talking about someone that wants to build the Colosseum. I'm not saying that he's got to be painting the 6, 7, 10 chapels. No. I'm saying that whatever he wants to do for his life, does he have a plan? And does he incorporate you in those plans? Can you see yourself thinking, wow, this can actually work, because I see you're someone that, as you say it, you do it. So when you're dating a guy, take some time out, yes, to talk about yourself and what you like and what you don't like, and see if he can step up to that. That's fantastic. But take some time to be an active listener and hear his upbringing. Listen to how a man you are dating has been raised, to know what kind of man he's going to be to you. So if you're talking to a guy on the phone and he never mentions his dad, he doesn't talk about times when his dad has disciplined him. He doesn't talk about times when his dad has taught him a lesson. He doesn't even reflect on times where he has had quality time with his father. Let me tell you something. That man doesn't have a father figure in his life. The man you're dating, you need to hear what his relationship is with his dad, because when it comes to being a man, he's going to learn from his dad. And when it comes to how to treat a woman, he's going to grow up seeing how his dad has interacted with his mum. Now, as much as he might have seen his dad get away with his mum, is what he's going to try with you. because he's going to think, well, I've seen this work for my dad. He's got the woman, he's got the kids, he's got the job, the house, the lifestyle, and that's all my dad did. So why should I do any more? I've seen it works for him. So ask him, yo, what's, your relationship like with your parents? That's great, because anybody can have two different separate relationships with their parents. You can say, I have a great relationship with my dad. I have a fantastic relationship with my mum. Now ask him, what's the relationship like between your mum and your dad? And if there's a pause, sis, you got to keep going. And the reason why I say you got to keep going is not in an invasive manner, but in a sense of saying, okay, this is how I'm going to really learn what our relationship is like. So if he says, yeah, you know what, my mum and dad, they're a bit embarrassing. I mean, the PDA, the way they love on each other is a bit much, but you know what? I want that one day. I love the way that my dad loves on my mum. But if you ask him what the relationship is like between his mum and his dad, and he goes, you know how it can be after relationships and you've been with someone for so long, marriages can be a bit stale, but they get along quite fine. They get on well. What do you mean your mum and dad get on well? I need a bit more than that. Do they go out? Do they go on holiday? Do they have friends that are like couples? Do they go on double dates? Are they happy more than they are sad with one another? What was it like in your household? Were there a lot of arguments? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that as a couple, especially a married couple, you shouldn't argue. But I want to know, does your dad give your mum the silent treatment? Because if you grew up with your dad giving your mum the silent treatment, you might be comfortable giving me the silent treatment. And that is why I need to know what your upbringing was like. What was the marriage dynamic like between your mum and your dad in a home that you or your siblings were living in? Because after a while, the mask does drop. Parents, maybe after a certain age, they don't go into a different room to have disagreements. They might have full-blown arguments in front of the kids. And I want to know, when you're dating somebody, sis, you need to know, okay, how full-blown do the arguments get? Does it get at a calm talking level? Do they start to shout? Is there swearing? Does it get physical? Because I need to know how you perceive a real relationship to be. Yeah? Because a lot of people saying, you hear it nowadays, where guys go, you know what, my mom had 2-3 jobs and she was still raising the kid and she did a great job. Yeah, your mom, what you saw was your mom juggling everything, but was your mom happy inside? Did your mom feel like a woman? Did your mom feel like she could depend on your dad? Was your mom in a position where she didn't have to work 2 or 3 jobs? No. So I don't want women to date people who push on their perception of what they feel a woman should be. Just because your mum suffered, it doesn't mean that I have to suffer. That's what you need to ask yourself, sis. Now, if you're dating a guy whose dad treated their mum very well, and when I say treated very well is that the mum was able to do things within a capacity that was comfortable for her. She didn't feel the need to stretch herself beyond reasonable means. And what I mean is that, yeah, you're going to stretch yourself. You might have to juggle from time to time. It's a family, of course. But when you are having to do 2 roles as the husband and the wife, we need to look into that a bit deeper. So, as we are trying to break down the difference between a hard worker, a hustler, and someone that's just downright lazy, like, there's no need for you to go any further. Let's really break this down. So you're going to have the hustler man. Now, the hustler man is someone that he's got big dreams and he wants to go hard or go home. He's going to put lump sums of money into things. He might even get a couple loans out. He might even borrow money from you, sis, saying that, listen, when I hit it big, we're all going to enjoy. And that's great. You know, you're very passionate about something. But remember, when you're dating the hustler man might have some big wins, but from time to time, he will have some big losses. Sometimes the losses are even bigger than the wins. And you have to say to yourself, am I okay to put myself in a position to date a man that is ready to risk it all? Because I'm not saying it's all doom and gloom dating a man who likes to take high risks. But have you prepared the backup plan in a sense of, if he loses it all, have I got the ability to make sure we're good? And I'll be honest with you, if I'm talking to you like a sis, you shouldn't have to ever put yourself in a mind state to feel like you have to ensure that you and your man are good. But if that's the case, ask yourself that question, sis. And ask yourself, are you ready for the rest of your life to be dating a man who likes to take big risks? Because there can be big heartbreaks as well, sis. Sometimes you might be signing stuff you didn't know you signed over. Yes. Because there are situations where men will take out loans even in your names. There are situations when you are dating someone who likes to take high risk when it comes to money, they'll even take out loans in their children's names. Yo, I see you watching. Oh yeah, I see you. I see you doing everything you need to do other than the important stuff, which is liking, subscribing. And I know your shy ass hasn't even dropped a comment. So I'm going to give you time to do that while I make sure I take a sip out of my Hey Sis mug. You got one, right? I hope you do. Yeah, that's enough time. Let's get back to the episode. When it comes to money, they'll even take out loans in their children's names. Are you prepared to date a man like that? Next, you got yourself the guy who is, let's call him Hakuna Matata. Yeah? Now, Hakuna Matata, no worries. Shout out to my people, them. That's Swahili for no worries. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. But I'm pretty sure it's Swahili. Hakuna Matata. Now, the reason why we call this guy the Hakuna Matata, no worries, is because he always tells you, don't worry, babe. Don't worry, babe. Now, mind you, he's never got a solution. He's never going to fix anything. But he always tells you to take it easy. And the reason why he has that mindset is because he's always been taken care of. He's left the nest of his mother and father. He's landed into your nest and you provide a home for him where the rent is paid, the bills are paid, there's always food in the fridge, and you there to be his chambermaid. And the reason why I say you have to prepare yourself for a Hakuna Matata type of guy is because his aspirations are little to none. He's very happy with living a life where he might get himself a job. He might. That's a big might. And that job is money where we call it change, his pocket change for him. It's enough for himself to buy his, needs, medicinal needs, maybe a few snacks and things like that, some new clothes, maybe get his hair done. Because the Hakuna Matata men, for some reason, they always have hair that they want to get done. They always want to look pretty for somebody. And you have to ask yourself, if you are going to assume the role of being with a man who's always like, no worries, babe, and he's never got solutions, are you ready to be the problem solver in your relationship as a woman? Because being the problem solver means that you will always be thinking endlessly. You will always have to think 10 steps ahead. You will never be able to relax. You're always on alert because without you, nothing moves. And then you have your hard worker. We're talking about solid upbringing. A man that has plans for himself, has always thought about his next move, where he's going to be in the next 3 to 5 years. He's comfortable. And the reason why he's comfortable is he's a grafter. When you see him, he's very modest looking, and not trying to say that he's in rags, but he's not flashy most of the time. This is a man that he's going to have things that are sustainable. If he needs a shirt, jeans, comfortable shoes, he's off. He's gone. He's always got savings because he doesn't believe in spending frivolously, but he can accept the fact that a woman might spend money from time to time on general upkeep, but he always has money saved for a rainy day because he's been raised with the mentality that as a man, always be able to provide when necessary. The thing is, a lot of women will date men thinking, I'm going to get myself a provider guy, or and this is the big mistake, a lot of women assume that they can mold a man to be a provider. Let me tell you something. When it comes to a man's formative years, that was with his mother and his father. If they were not able to mold him to be a provider, sis, don't think that you're going to be doing that. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much you assume the mothering role, in his formative years is when he's going to soak up all the lessons, all the things that he's seen play out in real life to say, okay, this is the type of man I can see I'm supposed to be. That is why I say that we need to be comfortable as women to date our reality, not our potential. And, I can't blame us as women. We're naturally going to have the glass half full. We're always going to be optimistic. We're always going to have a mindset where we feel like, yeah, abundance forever. But to be a smart woman, you have to be able to navigate throughout the dating world, being able to say no, 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 yes, no, no, yes, no. Oh, this was a yes at some point. It's a no now, and keep it moving. Sis, let me take a sip. Okay, sis. So let's talk about the telltale signs to know what type of man you're dating. If you're actually dating a hard worker that's a provider, or if you're just dating a flashy bum. So let's get into it. Now, one of the red flags you need to look out for is a man's social group. So we've talked about the fact that you need to look at his father, but look at his friends. Now, the friends he's carried, and men love to keep long-term friendships. So you have to ask yourself, the guy you've been friends with for the past 5-10 years, what's he doing? What's his aspirations? What has he done for his life? What's his highest level of education? If he's a sole trader, worker, entrepreneur, if he's an employee, what industry is he in? What kind of household have they come from? What kind of school did they attend? For you to get an understanding of, okay, the heights of his heights, or wherever the bar is set, is most likely with his closest friend. Now, if his closest friend isn't aspirational, babe, he's most likely not going to be an aspirational person as well. A green flag to look out for when it comes to structures and friendships is that even if he's not the most successful person in his group, if he's amongst a lot of his friends who are successful, it's only a matter of time. They're going to keep speaking life into him. They're always going to, if they're in the same industry, tell him about upcoming opportunities. Hey bro, my place of work, they're actually interviewing right now. I think you'd be perfect for the job. I've already put a good word in for you. You see how that works? Especially when most of the time it's not competitive. There are some male friendship groups that are hella competitive, and we will talk about that another day. But if you've got a good friendship group, a good friend will mention you in rooms that you're not in. So when it comes to opportunities that they know are well suited for you, of course his friends are going to recommend him because they want to see him do well. And people, most of the time, and this is what happens, and it's so funny, yeah? When it comes to being successful and being able to get opportunities, you will find yourself getting more opportunities the more successful you are. People aren't ready to reach out and give you a helping hand when they haven't seen what you can do for yourself. And a lot of people have this, oh, woe is me mentality, in a sense of, why won't anyone help me? The fact of the matter is, we live in a society where people go, how much have you done to help yourself? How hardworking are you when no one is watching? And that is when people go, okay, you are worthy enough for me to help you get to the next level. I don't make the rules, but one thing about the game is that I will not be losing at it, especially if you can learn how to win. Why would you lose? A second red flag to know if you are going to date a man that is going to be a good provider and so on and so forth, is a man without a structure. Again, work this into casual conversation. This is how you get to know the man you're dating. It's not about going on a dinner table, eating a 3-course meal, and then being driven around. Before we get to that stage, sis, or in between the courtship, we need to know what his mind is saying to know what kind of life you're going to be living in the future. So when you work this into conversation casually, you're going to say things like this. What you got planned for the rest of your day? What you got planned for the week? A man who's going somewhere in his life will have a routine. He will have a structure. If he doesn't say things like, okay, I've got work from 9 to 5. After that or before that, 6 a.m. I like to wake up in the morning, go for a run. 5 a.m. I like to go to the gym. I'm playing squash on the weekend with my directors. I'm trying to get in good with them so I can get a promotion. Don't forget to subscribe to Hey Sis UK so you never miss out on an episode. Yeah? So, like I said, you work this casually into the conversation. You say, oh, what have you got planned for the day? Or what does your week look like? If you don't hear a man with a structure and an actual routine, let me tell you something. He doesn't have a vision with himself. You need to hear him say, yo, I wake up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I go for a run. I go to the gym. I have a shake. I go to work from 9 to 5. After work, I go volunteering or whatever. On the weekend, I'm going to go and play squash for my directors because I'm looking to get a promotion. I'm looking like I've got a 3 to 5 year plan when it comes to this company, and I'm looking to move to another one for a better opportunity. He needs to have a plan, structure, routine. Then you need to tap in and know what's his discipline. Everybody's got a discipline. Anybody that's doing something with their life has a set discipline. Is his discipline eating? Does he keep a clean regimen when it comes to what he eats because he's trying to hit his fitness goals? Yeah? Does he have a discipline when it comes to the sports he's in? Maybe he's in a little league of a little football team that he does with his friends, or a basketball tournament that he's in. Nothing too much, but it's something that you can say, okay, this guy has a structure. He plays a team sport. There's people that rely on him. He's reliable. He's resourceful enough to say, okay, I'm going to seek out this thing that I do because I have interactions with people. Does he have third spaces he goes to? Is he sociable, or is he someone that's quite timid and quiet? Now, typically, if you've got a very timid man, he's not aggressive when it comes to the career ladder. If you've got a man that goes to social spaces, and I'm not talking about the guy that's popping bottles in Eden Lounge, because anybody can pop bottles, anybody can scrape about 3 to 5 grand together and look like king of the hill at your local bar or club. We're talking about the guy that says, I'm looking to purchase my second home in the next year. Oh, I've just seen a land that I'm looking to acquire. Oh, I've just gone in on this business with a cousin of mine. What does he do with his money? And the thing is, you could think, oh, Yezzi, how the hell am I going to find out what this guy does with his money? Again, you don't have to be hella invasive to know this, but you can tell by someone's lifestyle where the majority of his money's going. Is he living hand to mouth every month, or is he putting something aside because he's mentioned casually to you that I have a plan for myself? I'm looking to acquire these things. Do I even have savings? Has he got an ISA account? Sis, like, you have to know if this guy's a provider. It's not about, oh, he's really nice to me. There's a bag of nice men out there. Has he got a brain? Has he got plans for himself? Because a nice man will still have you paying all the bills. You can go down the road and get a nice guy. What's a nice guy to you? Someone that doesn't shout and call you out your name. Is that... You need a nice man who is intentional about his future, because let me tell you something, there ain't nothing uglier than being old and broke. So go ahead and ask yourself that. Do you want a nice man by your side while you're old, broke and struggling, or do you want a nice man that you took the time out to be diligent in being an active listener to find out if he's got a plan for you? Because let me tell you something, as long as someone has a plan for themselves, trust me, you can fit yourself in the picture. He doesn't have to say to you, oh, I have a plan for you, but you can hear his plan and you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, I can see where I can fit into that. You know where you fit in and where you don't fit in. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out. Another red flag when it comes to... another red flag when it comes to when you're dating a guy is he always playing the blame game? So I'm talking about the guy that you took the time out to get to know him, and then the first impression you get is like, oh, he doesn't like his mum. He's always talking about the fact that, his mum is a weight on him. Had it not been for his mum, he would have been something else by now. Oh, the job system is the reason why I can't be the best that I can be. He's always got someone to blame. He lacks accountability. Let me tell you something, sis. If you go ahead trying to be his superhero to save the day, he will resent you as well, because someone of a certain age that continues to blame people and isn't accountable isn't someone that wants to change his circumstance. And it's not for you to say, you know what, I'm just going to be his motivator and hopefully with all the love I have to give, he'll be a better man. No. Remember when we were talking about formative years? For him to be the man he's supposed to be, that would have been done in his formative years by his mother and his father. That's not your job. If he's got mummy issues, he needs to go and sort that out. It's not for you to help him guide through his mother issues, or you to be setting up interventions and meetings between him and his mum. Go sort that stuff out. I'm out. That's the mindset you have to have. You need someone that is able to work through hard times. I'm talking about when you go through leaps and bounds, when you go through highs and lows. Is he someone that goes, we're going to work through this? Don't worry about it. We're going to work through this. This is what we're going to do. Is he a diligent worker? And the reason why I say diligent worker is that sometimes a man will have to lay low to achieve what he needs to do in the future. If he's someone that, as a man as well, who allows himself to be shackled to the feelings of FOMO, fear of missing out. Every time he's got to be there when that party's happening. He needs to step outside to be the peacock he is for everyone to see him in his flashy jewelry and his clothes that he's wearing. If he always has to be seen, when is he ever working? Because sometimes to have the biggest successes, you have to be working quietly for there to be noise. And if he isn't someone that knows how to be a proper grafter, and grafting doesn't always have to look so tragic and, struggling. But when you are grafting, I'm talking about real grafting, most time people won't see that. But if he always wants to be seen, you have to be mindful of that, sis. Because that kind of attitude will have him falling into debt to a lifestyle that he cannot afford. And you hear situations where you find women trying to be helpmates, but really being mammies, where they help a man out of hardship. They help a man out of a situation that he put himself in. Let me tell you something, sis. If he puts himself in a situation that you had nothing to do with, don't go and take it upon yourself to help him out of it. Because he'll do it again. And you know why he'll do it again? Because you remember the last time you helped him. I remember my mum said something to me. You can have stupid women and you can have smart women. The problem is a lot of women think they're smart, but it takes the wrong man to bring the stupidity that was always in them. Go ahead and think about that. Because, we make mistakes as women. Everybody's make mistakes. You don't come out the womb knowing how to navigate throughout relationships. But with every relationship, and I don't want to use the word failed, but the ones that you've learnt lessons through, you're supposed to get better with time. And people say, he's a manipulator, he used me, and da 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 da. Discernment, if you didn't have it, you didn't have it. Being able to know what's right for you, what's wrong for you. If you don't possess that ability, you don't possess that ability. It just takes the wrong man to bring out the vulnerability in you. Some may call it bullying, manipulation. If it wasn't from a partner, it would have been at work. If it wasn't at work, it would have been through your great friendship group. You take a step back, you realize, I'm the sidekick and all of them are using me. Navigation, sis. We always have to keep navigating through these things. So, I say this to say, and the main thing I'm saying is that if you really want to know the type of guy you're dating, you want to know where the bar is set, look at the dad. Look at the father figure. Because a lot of people think, I'm just going to ask him what his relationship is like with his mom to know how he's going to treat women. Majority of men don't value their interactions with women first. It's not a priority. A lot of men's value comes from their masculinity, how they see themselves in a masculine nature, how they see themselves in their male friendship groups. So if you want to know what type of man he is overall, really start to get into his relationship with Daddy Dearest. So I'll say this as the main takeaways that I'd say is that find out the type of work archetype your man is. Is he the hustler? Is he the hard, honest worker? Or is he the big dreamer with no plans? Understand if he's articulate enough to be able to conversate with you in regards to his goals and intentions for himself. Because some people say, I'm just not a good talker. Get him to talk. I don't really know how to put my feelings out there. Get him to vocalize his feelings. And I'm not saying constant work. I'm saying it so the sooner you know what his visions are for himself, Mr. I'm not a good talker, the sooner you can understand if this is a situation you need to be in, sis. And thirdly, get to know what his relationship is like with his dad. Does he admire his dad? Is his dad someone... Because you can have a dad in the household, but he ain't a great dad. Just because he's present doesn't mean that his presence is a present. So ask him, find out if he admires his dad's work ethic, or does he resent his dad's work ethic. Ask him about his dynamic, or identify his dynamic between his mum and dad. The sooner you can meet his mum and dad, the better, sis. Whether it's in the house, whether it's down at a table, at dinner, look at his parents more than you're looking at him. Because you're going to see what you two are going to look like in the future, looking at them. So, without saying any more, you have been locked into another Hey Sis UK episode, my good people. Make sure you are locked into the website. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you follow us where the big family is at. That is Hey Sis _UK. You don't know. Make sure you're locked in. We've got a donation page because we are raising a team. So I'm going to put the link down below. No matter how big, no matter how small, it goes towards making what we got going on bigger and better. And when you see me outside, give me a hey sis, because you know I love that. So yeah, you've been listening or watching another banging episode of Hey Sis. Make sure you stay blessed. Bye.
Baby, bring it one time, yeah. Girl, sit down and relax. Girl, let me put it on you, no time for chit chat. Because she move like a queen and I like what I see and I wanna get more of that.
I undress and he blows success. Lay down as you decompress. Come on and forget the stress. Got the 9 to 5 cause he tryna change his life. He can't help it but